Words and words and more words. You see them just about everywhere. The printed word, it's part of our day-to-day environment. So though you may not be conscious of it, you spend a lot of your time reading. Not only that, you rely on reading, especially in school where it's impossible to do without it. Just think of all the things you could read in a single school year. So, no matter how well you read, it can't hurt to improve your skills. And that's what brings students to the Reading Center. Students like Ed Wheeler.
Debate. What I'm working on is called word recognition. That's being able to look at a word and know what it is. I can do it, but I'm just trying to get better at it.
Word recognition? Let's see how it works.
The process is triggered just as soon as a word meets your eye, like this. If you knew that word almost instantly, it's because these things happened. You realized that a group of letters was familiar. You knew they stood for a set of sounds.
Stop.
The ability to read words almost instantly, without effort, one at a time and in groups. That's what you get by building word recognition skills. Now try your recognition skills with some more signs. Speed. That's important in word recognition. Try some longer ones at a faster pace. Let's go even faster with even longer words and phrases. How did you do?
Besides being able to recognize a word, you need to know its meaning, or its several meanings, to be able to make sense out of it when you read it. That's what Pamela's working on, building her vocabulary.
I came to this country several years ago, and since then I built a pretty big English vocabulary, but I keep on seeing these words, these familiar words, that I think that I know, but they're in different contexts, so I don't understand them. So I always have to keep on working on my vocabulary.
Familiar words with unfamiliar meanings. That's probably the main vocabulary problem you meet up with in your school reading.
Think about the word power. You've heard of power boats, power hitters, power steering, power brakes, power tools, maybe even power plays.
In all those expressions, power had its most common meaning: energy, strength.
But knowing that doesn't help you much in math class when you're asked to raise 2 to the 5th power. Or in science, when you need to explain a microscope with 100 power magnification. Or social studies, when you talk about the powers of Congress.
So a word can have many meanings, some common, some only for special purposes. Part of building vocabulary is learning as many of these meanings as you can.
How many do you know for the word hand? That is one meaning, but do you know these?
Learning additional meanings of familiar words, that's part of vocabulary building. Of course, another is learning entirely new words. There are special skills that you can develop for that, too.
For instance, do you know what an astrolabe is? Probably not, but there's a way to find out without looking it up.
Before the telescope, the astrolabe was the chief instrument for studying the stars and planets.
Now, can you define astrolabe? Number 3 is correct.
If you chose it,
It's because you probably got a sense of the meaning of astrolabe from its context, from the way it fits with the other words and images around it. Context often helps you get word meanings. Another student in the Reading Center is Arthur.
I like reading now because it's interesting and it takes me into different places that I could never go by myself. I used to hate it because I would try and find the meaning of each word instead of trying to find the meaning of whole sentences. They've given me lots of exercises to help me at the Reading Center. Now I'm improving through work at finding main ideas.
The main idea, the key thought behind a paragraph or a story or an article. Sometimes it's laid out in the open. For instance, in a newspaper story, the main idea is often given out by the headline. What headline would you give this item from the evening news?
Budget Director Maxwell Grimm warned today that the state may run out of money by the end of the year. Grimm termed the situation a possible disaster.
On your highway budget problem. The governor is the only one who can solve this problem. After all, it's his own highway projects that are draining our funds, so if we run out of money, you'll know whose fault it is. No further comment. No further comment.
Which of these headlines does the best job of giving the news story's main idea? Did you pick the bottom one? It does summarize the most important of the ideas Mr. Grimm stated. Headlines aren't the only things that signal main ideas. For instance, in a textbook, they're signaled by tables of contents, chapter titles, headings, introductions, summaries, pictures, topic sentences, and so on.
I really want to go to college. And I've been told that to do well on placement tests and college reading assignments, I'll need the ability to interpret things that I read. So I've been going to the Reading Center, where I've been working to improve in interpretation.
Hi. Interpreting. What does that mean? You'll see in a minute if you pay close attention to this part of a short story told by the character named Billy.
I was peaceably sitting on a log, cooling off my feet, when up strides Maud Savage, only female blacksmith in the territory. Just as soon break your nose as look at you. Well, she stares down at me with them beady eyes and says, "Out of my way, Billy." Well, how could I do but what the lady asked? I wouldn't want folks thinking Billy's not a gentleman.
Which of these do you think true of Billy? That he's afraid of Maud? Chances are he is, and he may indeed want to avoid admitting it. Whether you chose one or both, the point is this. To pick one, you had to read between the lines, or perhaps beyond the lines, because the character Billy never actually says either. That's what interpreting is. Because it's one of the toughest skills to master, Marie is spending a lot of time working on it. The skill that concerns Alan is reading speed.
It used to take me forever to do my homework because I read too slowly. But I've been working in the reading lab at improving my speed at reading school materials. And so far, my speed has almost doubled.
How fast should a person read? That depends, as you're about to see. When the watch starts, read the encyclopedia passage that appears beside it and check your time when you finish. And try to remember the main facts. Read carefully, starting now. Remember your time and see how long it takes you to read part of a letter with similar information and the same number of words. Start now. How much time did that one take? Probably less than the first, because it was simpler, and so was your purpose in reading it. Remember, your reading speed should usually be determined by the type of material and your purpose. That's why each of us needs several speeds. Slow for difficult textbooks, faster for a light story, faster yet for skimming. What's your speed for material of average difficulty? You're about to find out. We'll start with a rate of 150 words per minute. Get ready to step it up to 250 words per minute. Still faster? How about 500 words a minute? Think that's fast? Then try a speed of 1,000 words a minute. Yow! Hold everything. There. After all, you don't need super speeds.
What you do need is several speeds, each as fast as possible for the material and your purpose. Remember, no matter how well you read, there's always room for improvement. And if you want to do it, you can do it.